shock value that is shocking what the Russians did. I agree, we need to stop it. Did you read the Horowitz report, Ms. Yates?
I did.
Were you shocked by it?
I certainly was shocked, yes. I think that the conduct that was reflected there.
So let's talk about that conduct right quick. We're talking about using a document that came from a Russian subsource to get a warrant against an American citizen repeatedly that was full of garbage. Does that bother you?
Well, I'm not sure that I
Does it
agree
bother
with
you
your
that the
characterization.
FISA court rebuked the Department of Justice and the FBI regarding the Carter Page warrant application?
Senator, I believe that the Department of Justice and the FBI have a duty of candor with the FISA court.
Do you believe they fulfilled that duty?
No, I do not believe that they did. I think
Okay.
that there were.
As a matter of
errors and
fact, you
abuses
signed that
were-
warrant application in October and January, is that correct?
That's right.
Knowing then what you know now, would you sign that application?
Senator, I would never sign any document.
So I
in
take
any
that to
matter.
be
Don't
no,
just this.
because that document was a fraud. Is that a fair statement? If you knew then what you know now, you wouldn't have signed it?
I wouldn't sign anything that I knew to contain errors or omissions.
Or did that contain errors and omissions?
Did, and I would never knowingly sign a document.
Right.
I didn't do that in the 27 years.
I
was
believe you
speaking.
didn't know. I believe you didn't know that what you signed was wrong. The question is, if you had known, you wouldn't have signed it. Is that correct?
No, if I had known that it contained incorrect information, I certainly wouldn't have signed it.
Thank you. And do you agree with me it did contain incorrect information?
I know that now based on the Horowitz report.
That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that you lied to the court. I'm saying you signed something that was a lie and you didn't know it. Now let's talk about a January 5th meeting. Was the vice president there?
Yes, he was.
Okay. Did he mention the Logan Act?
You know, I don't remember the vice president saying much of anything in this meeting.
So you don't remember him mentioning the Logan Act?
No, I don't.
Did anybody mention the Logan Act?
I have a vague memory of Director Comey mentioning the Logan Act.
Okay,
But
what
I'm
was he
not
mentioning
sure
the
what
Logan
kind of
Act about? In what context?
Well, I'm not sure if he mentioned that in the Oval Office meeting or in the meeting that
What
he
do you
and I
think
had.
about the,
Mr. Chairman, let her answer the question. Just because it's a woman testifying doesn't mean she has to be cut off.
yeah,
on
thanks
every
a
answer.
lot, Senator Lee. I really appreciate that. You're very constructive. So here's my question. Was the Logan Act mentioned in the meeting?
I recall mentioning it at some point. What I'm not sure about, Senator Graham, and I want to be
That's fair. That's fair. You don't know if it's mentioned in the meeting or not. Do you believe
No,
the
no, I do recall Director Comey mentioning it at some point. I'm not sure. It
Right.
was in
No,
the
I got
meeting.
you. I got
Or
you.
in the discussion he and I had.
No, I got you.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Here's the question. Did General Kislak's behavior amount to a violation of the Logan Act in your opinion?
It certainly could have been a technical violation, but that was not the focus of the FBI or us. That we were really focused on a counterintelligence
Well,
investigation.
do you realize on January the 4th, the FBI recommended to drop General Flynn from Crossfire Hurricane?
I understand, well, I know that now. I didn't know that at
So,
the time.
but here's my point,
I
Ms.
also
Yates.
believe that-
On January the
Okay.
4th, the FBI said there's no reason to keep looking at General Flynn. On January the 5th, you have a meeting with the FBI director where you believe he mentions the Logan Act in regard to General Flynn. Is that correct?
What I understand, Senator Graham, is that, and I didn't know at the time because I wasn't privy to the FBI's internal documentation of the counterintelligence investigation.
Did you even know it was going on?
Not specifically with respect to General Flynn, no. I
So
knew
you
that there
did
was a-
not know the FBI had a counterintelligence investigation of General Flynn?
No, I did not until.
So here's
until-
my question. The January 24th interview by General Flynn by 2 FBI agents, did you authorize that interview?
No, I did not.
Did you
But
counsel
that
the,
doesn't mean that I don't believe that there was a legitimate basis for that.
say that again, I'm sorry?
I didn't authorize that interview because I wasn't told about it in advance. But that's not the same thing as saying that I don't
Okay.
believe that there was a legitimate basis for it.
So you believe there was a legitimate basis for the interview?
Yes, I do.
What was that basis?
Well, at the time, Senator Graham, we were in a situation where we had evidence that the Russians were attempting to influence the election to
The
benefit.
election was over.
Right. If you give me just a second here, I think I can lay it out for you.
No, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask questions and you're going to give me answers. What was the basis of the General Flynn interview? Was it part of Crossfire Hurricane?
My understanding, yes, it was.
They just
The FBI
recommended to
was-
drop him from Crossfire Hurricane the day before. Was it part
And
of the?
that was before they had information
Please,
about
right.
the calls with
Please,
SWIFT.
please, we're talking now about the interview of January 4th. Was it to determine if there was a violation of the Logan Act? Was that the basis of the interview?
No, it was not about the Logan Act per se. It was to find out about his conversations that he had had.
Didn't you have
with
the transcript of his
that he was
conversations?
That he was providing false information.
Did you have the transcripts of the conversation between the National Security Advisor and the
At
Russian
some
ambassador?
point, I know we had what we call the cuts at that point. The FBI agents may have had the actual transcripts.
Was this a counterintelligence investigation of the phone call?
This was a counterintelligence investigation of the Trump campaign's potential relationship with the Russians.
That makes no sense. On January the 4th, they recommend to drop Flynn. They mentioned the Logan Act, and you advised against prosecuting the Logan Act. Is that true?
We never made an official decision about whether we were going to do it, but I think it was unlikely, certainly unlikely, that we would pursue a prosecution. That was not our primary
Yeah,
concern.
yeah,
It was not
so-
a Logan Act violation. It was a counterintelligence concern.
Okay, here's what I want to understand. It's a counterintelligence investigation that led to the interview. You didn't authorize the interview. As a matter of fact, you wanted to go to the White House and tell them about the problem, didn't you?
That's right. I did. I thought that that was the more immediate issue.
And when
that
you,
needed to be addressed.
when you heard about the interview, you got upset, didn't you?
I was upset that Director Comey didn't coordinate that with us and acted unilaterally. Yes, I was.
Okay. Did Comey go rogue?
But you could use that term, yes.
Finally.
But the rogue is
So,
to the
wait a
timing.
minute. Thank you. So here's the point I'm trying to make. Did I violate the Logan Act when I called the Israelis up and suggested that you need to come out against the Iranian nuclear deal because I think it's bad for the United States and Israel, even though that was the policy of the Obama administration?
If you were doing that as a representative of the government, while the Obama administration was in
I'm not
place.
part of the Obama administration.
No, I understand that, but, you know, I think the Logan Act is a reflection of our country's longstanding
My question
policy.
is, would a United States senator, in your view, violate the Logan Act if they reached out to a foreign government to express a contrary view of foreign policy?
If you were negotiating on behalf of the U.S. government, you may. But Senator, I have to tell you, the whole prism here,
What-
you have, that this is all about the Logan Act, is just not how we
Why did
were
somebody
able to
bring it
do
up?
this.
Why did they mention the Logan Act if it's not about the Logan Act?
Because it, as I was trying to say just a minute ago, that's a reflection of our longstanding policy in the United States, that you have
Is it-
one president at a time. And this
is it-
wasn't just,
Is it the longstanding policy of the United States that an incoming administration can't talk to foreign leaders about changing policy?
you can certainly talk to foreign leaders about a potential change in policy in the future, but this wasn't any policy. This was undercutting the sanctions of the U.S.
You had
government
one
against foreign
administration
adversaries
leaving
and
in 2 weeks, and you had a new administration coming in urging them, don't escalate. And to anybody who thinks that's a violation of the Logan Act, that is stunning as hell. That means you can't really talk to anybody. You can't hit the ground running. So I just don't understand where the Logan Act came up. And I do believe very deeply that you were surprised that the president knew about the intercept and you didn't, who told the President of the United States about the intercept between Kislyak and Flynn?
I don't know, but it doesn't surprise me at
Have
all.
you
that
ever
the
asked
president-
anybody?
No, because I would expect that the president would know about a national security threat.
But you didn't know. You were
Right, because
surprised you didn't know. Who in the
I was
FBI
surprised.
went around you to tell the president?
I don't know that the FBI.
Did
told
you
the
ever
president.
ask Comey coming out, hey, have you been talking to the president about this and not talking to me?
No, what I asked him was why he knew about it and I didn't, and he hadn't
What
told.
did he tell the president about it, or do you know?
I don't know who told the president.
You never asked Comey, did you tell the president about this investigation?
No, because Senator, my concern was not that the president knew. It was not only entirely appropriate.
You
but the
seem
president
very
wanted to do his
surprised and
job.
shocked that he knew and you didn't.
Right, because Director Comey was part of the Department of Justice, and I expected him
So
to tell
here's
me
a
that.
question, final
But as
question.
it turned out,
Here's
to
final
be fair to
question.
Director Comey, they had told the National
Who,
Security.
who's the most likely person to tell the president about the investigation?
It wasn't about an investigation.
About the
Senator. It was
intercept, about the intercept.
It was, I can't tell you who was the most.
Wouldn't it be
likely.
Comey? Didn't he pull Comey aside?
I think this information was shared with the intelligence
Do you
community.
think it'd be
Senator.
good to
I
ask
don't know.
Comey about that?
Mr. Chairman, give her a chance to answer.
Do you,
I'm sorry, Senator, I didn't hear your last question.
I'm sorry, do you believe the most logical person to tell the president about the intercept was Comey? He's in charge of the investigation.
Well, first, Director Comey wasn't talking to the president about an investigation.
About the
And
intercept.
About the intercept. I don't know if it was Comey or the Director of National Intelligence or who it was. It could have been. I
Would the
don't-
Director of National Intelligence be investigating a violation of the Logan Act?
Because the president, when the Russians so inexplicably reversed course.
Here's my question. Would the intelligence community be investigating a violation of the Logan Act?
Senator.
Is that
folks weren't
appropriate? Is that
investigating a violation
appropriate?
of the Logan Act. I don't know how many times I can say that that wasn't the PRISM. It was a counterintelligence threat.
No, you keep saying there was no, well, he was dropped from the investigation on January the 4th. They talk
that
about
was
the
the-
Logan Act. This makes no sense that you didn't know and the president did, and I'm trying to find out how the president knew and you didn't, and you don't, you still can't tell me that. Is that fair to say?
And Senator, you won't let me finish the sentence where
Please.
I want to tell you what my understanding is that the agents had suggested that the specific case on General Flynn because before they knew about the conversations with Ambassador Kislyak.
Still don't get it, but thank you.